you to go back to a time when you were super hungry. You probably were able to walk into the pantry and grab a snack to eat, or maybe drive to your favorite restaurant, or you were able to cook something for yourself in the kitchen. The point is, we all have such easy access to food even when we're the slightest bit hungry. Now, imagine if you didn't have access to any of that food. Would you know what to do? Good afternoon. My name is Risha Manga, and today I will be talking about hunger, specifically child hunger. But before I start giving you the facts and statistics, I would like to put this problem into perspective. I have composed two poems, one about a child who is struggling and the other about a child who is auspicious or lucky. Struggle. Look at those children with no food in their tummy. Imagine that feeling and how it must be crummy. Look at those malnourished arms with no protection from harm. Look at those wide eyes staring into our hearts, and all those tears decided to depart, facing the wrath of hunger day and night, when they could have a future so beautiful and bright. Auspicious. Look at that child with chocolate cake smeared all over his bratty little face. Look at that smug smile that only lasts for a little while. Look at those eyes, silently complaining as he stares at the cake that is still remaining, deciding to waste that slice when there's so many that would sacrifice so much for so little. As little as that small slice. Sure, they say that life's not fair, but why is it that only some live in despair? Now, let's go back to that scenario I gave you all at the beginning of my talk. If you didn't have access to that food, would you know what to do? I want all of you guys to go ahead and close your eyes. And I want you to imagine that you're in the middle of a desert. You look and you walk around, but there's no one there. No one to help you. You then realize that you have no choice but to wait. A couple of days goes by, and a good Samaritan comes and gives you some of his food. Now that you have that scenario in your head, you can open your eyes. This exact feeling of not knowing when your next meal is going to come is a harsh reality for many kids all over the globe. According to Feeding America, 1 in 6 children in the United States do not have access to proper food. And according to the Mid-South Food Bank, child hunger is primarily caused by the fact that children do not get food from their parents. Luckily, during the school year, they go to school and they get a free meal during lunch. That is the only meal that they get throughout an entire day. But what happens when school's out? Turns out that these children do not receive any meals on hot summer days. As an anonymous saying goes, there is more fruit in a rich man's shampoo than in a poor kid's plate. When it's put that way, isn't it sad? According to the Borgen Project, child hunger and malnutrition are one of the leading causes of death all over the world. But why child hunger? Sure, you must be thinking, well, what about the adults? But I have some reasons why. Children need nutrients in order to grow. So what happens when they don't receive these nutrients? Turns out that their growth gets stunted and their brains do not develop correctly. This can lead to many brain problems that cannot be fixed later on in their life. And if you think about it, children are the future, and if there's so many children now that are facing child hunger, our future could be corrupt. But what about solutions? Sure, there are lots of food banks all over the country, but is it enough? To begin with, food banks cannot make a direct impact without volunteers and community involvement. That is why awareness is the key to this problem. A few weeks back, when we went to the Mid-South Food Bank, they were telling us how there were only a handful of employees, and the only way how they're able to make a direct impact is because of volunteers. In the final weeks of my 8th grade year, my friend and I created a public service announcement over child hunger. This video accumulated over 10,000 views in only 2 weeks and was put upon Mid-South Food Bank socials. The point I'm trying to make is that every dollar and every hour truly does make a difference, and together we can make that difference. Now, imagine a world where every child is well fed. Imagine that when you either travel here, in the US, or abroad, you don't see a child begging for food on the street. Imagine the happiness it could bring to our world. Thank you for listening.